Welcome to the League of Women Voters Candidates Forum for the Moorhead School Board. We would like to thank the Moorhead Library for hosting us and Moorhead Community Access Media for filming. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan political organization that encourages informed and active participation in government and works to increase the understanding of major public policy issues and influences public policy through education and advocacy. For this forum, each candidate will have 1 minute for an opening statement, and then we'll ask questions provided by the audience, and each candidate will get 1 minute to respond. And then we'll end with a 1 minute closing statement. But first, candidate Cassidy Bjorklund was not able to attend, so we will be having an opening or a statement read on her behalf.
My name is Ladine Sarau, and I'm reading this statement for my friend Cassidy Bjorklund, who cannot be here today. She's a photographer, and she's shooting a wedding in the Twin Cities. The following is in Cassidy's own words. I am Cassidy Bjorklund, and I am running for Moorhead District School Board. My husband Greg and I have been married 14 years and have 3 children, Amelia, who is 12, Isaac, who is 10, and Greta, who is 8. I'm a lifelong resident of the Moorhead area and spent all my school years in Moorhead schools. I have a Bachelor of Science degree in nursing and own my own photography business. I was co-president of one of the district's PTACs for 2 years and have served on multiple committees throughout the district, one of which was the hiring of a new principal. I am truly invested in Moorhead as my family is very active in our schools and other programs the district has to offer. The district is forward in so many ways, forward in how we train our teachers and forward in the willingness to try new teaching techniques with our students. If elected to the board, I will be a part in preparing our students for the ever-changing global workforce. To prepare our students for this workforce, I would like to see the district develop multiple bilingual programs in the pre-K to senior high level. Please consider voting for me on November 4th. As a mom managing a household budget and a small business owner, I understand the importance of being fiscally responsible and how to make the money stretch. I also have a strong work ethic, and am dedicated to any task that I take on. I am ready to do the work and research required to make informed decisions for our diverse community. I will listen to all parties and make decisions that are best for the district needs. A vote for me, Cassidy Bjorklund, is a vote for the future of Moorhead. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we will start with the opening statements. And first statement, can we have Mark Altenberg? Thank you.
Thank you so much. My name is Mark Altenberg, and I'm running for the Moorhead School Board. Wanted to say thank you to the League of Women Voters of the Red River Valley, the Moorhead Public Library, and I also want to put out a special thank you to the other candidates. I had a chance this morning to review the candidates forum on Inform, and I was really excited to be here for this dialogue. I think the folks you have up here are well qualified and well informed, and I look forward to this afternoon. Thank you.
Next statement by Scott Hagan.
Hi, my name is Scott Hagan. I am a lifelong resident of Moorhead, grew up on the south side of town, and a product of the Moorhead public school system. I graduated in '92 from Moorhead High, and I currently have 2 children in the school system and 1 in the wings. My wife and I are proud of our South Moorhead public school system with Ellen Hopkins and with Horizon Middle School. I look forward to the opportunity to become part of the Moorhead Public School Board. With that opportunity, I hope to bring a fresh perspective and a new, another young drive to the school board. Thank you.
Thank you. Ryan Jensen.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Ryan Jensen. I'm a candidate for the Moorhead School Board. Family-wise, I have a wife, Kristen, who stays at home to take care of our 3 wonderful kids, all girls, ages 5, 3, and 1. The oldest of my daughters started kindergarten at Ellen Hopkins Elementary, which was the motivating factor for me joining this race. Professionally, I'm a detective with the Fargo Police Department. I've been with the department for 5 years. Prior to that, I was a small business owner, was the owner of the Pita Pit restaurants in Fargo. I have both private and public experience, including working within budgets and working with the public on a continual basis. I just wanted to thank everybody for coming out and for giving us this opportunity to be here today.
Thank you. David Marquardt.
Hello, my name is David Marquardt. I've been a resident of Moorhead for 9 years. My wife and I live on the southeast side of Moorhead. My wife's a social worker. We have 3 school-age children at Robert Asp, a 5th grader, a 3rd grader, and a kindergartner. I've been an educator, a teacher for 16 years in Fargo Public Schools. I'm also currently the Fargo Education Association president. And through my experience as a teacher and my other experiences as president, other things I've done was my reason for running for this. Also, with the future of my kids in the district for several more years is also another reason for my interest. And I thank everybody involved today for this opportunity to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. And Karen Stensgaard.
Thank you. I'm Karen Stensgaard. I am a North Moorhead resident. I purchased my house in 2007. I was actually a Fargo resident and graduated from Fargo South. I attended MSUM for a few years before I started working in finance, and I did that for 6 years. I have been in customer service for 13 years, but I'm currently a homemaker, staying home with my young children. I just had a baby a month ago, so I'm very busy right now getting used to the new schedule, and I also have a 21-month-old. And because of my interest in the school system and the future for our children is why I'm running for the school board. I want to make sure that we have a strong community of voices that have their input heard. And I just feel that I would be a good candidate because I have a new, fresh perspective. I'm young and really interested in the future of my children's education. I'm very interested in the arts, and I think it's really important that Moorhead emphasizes the importance of the arts and our programs continue. With our budget, we can certainly still keep the arts programs going. I also am interested in green ways of doing things. So going forward in the future, I really think that there are some really great, we already have the wind turbines that are powering part of the city of Moorhead. I think we could continue to do some great things with the schools as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Carla Swenson.
Thank you. My name is Carla Swenson, and I'm running for the school board. I have been a resident of Moorhead for 40 years. Moved here as a small child and came through the system. My husband and I own a small business that we operate out of our home. We have 3 sons, a 6th grader, a junior in high school, and then a sophomore off in college. So I guess I thought it was the time for me to step up and run for school board because I'm very interested in it. I have an education background. I've also been doing a lot of volunteering and different things in the schools. And I think I bring a unique perspective in that I've been through Moorhead School. I have a son who's graduated, and I have 2 that are still there. So it gets just a little different look at things. Mark was really excited to see the candidates. I was the first one to file and had no idea if there would even be enough for a race. So, and then to read all the great ideas and things that people have. And for the most part, everybody's kind of on the same page, and that's exciting that we kind of, as a community, know where we need to go. So, thank you.
Thank you. William Tomhave.
Good afternoon. My name is Bill Tomhave, and I'm running for re-election to the Moorhead School Board. This year's race is very similar to the first race I ran in. 10 people competed for 3 spots. I missed that 3rd seat by 5 votes. Another person missed it by 3. That race taught me 3 very important lessons. Lesson 1, every vote counts, and good intentions don't count if you don't vote. Second, I had attended only a handful of school board meetings prior to running for that election. In the 2 years after that, I attended nearly every school board meeting for the purpose of learning the procedures and processes of what it means to be a school board member. Third, after 3 terms in office, racking up almost 400 hours of school board association training through MSBA and participating in hundreds of meetings, I believe that I can say with confidence I understand what board service is and that things keep changing, and I'm keeping to changing along with them. In my time on the board, I've witnessed declining enrollment that precipitated a building program so that every kid in our district was able to go to a remodeled or new school. I've seen a decline in state funding that put us into a spiral, and I've attended dozens and dozens of meetings about how to deal with physical problems and how to trim the budget and how to have cost savings and efficiencies. Recently, we've seen a surge in enrollment that has filled our buildings. We've added space to several of our buildings. We've done it because of refinancing the original building bonds at no additional cost to our taxpayers. We've not had to go back to them for a dime. We're now in the final stages of another community involvement process to assess future needs for facilities. With your help, we're going to come back with a great plan to address those things well into the future. One thing I guarantee you, I'd rather be in a district facing problems due to growth than in a district facing problems due to fiscal issues due to lack of financial support or declining enrollment. I am sincerely interested in being part of the solution to our problems and would appreciate your support in this election. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we will start with the questions provided by our audience. We will start with Scott, and everyone will get 1 minute to respond. And the first question we have is, as our city continues to become more ethnically and racially diverse, what role do you see the school board playing in addressing the racial education achievement gap? And Scott, we'll start with you.
It's a very good question. As far as the racial gap or diversity within our school, I do see that quite a bit with the Ellen Hopkins School that my kids have attended. Just in attending a meeting just recently, trying to get students and parents involved, I think is the most important part in bridging that gap, so that not only do the children understand the school system, but getting the parents deeply involved, I think is something that is very important. That way the kids come home and there is a little bit of education that the children can provide to the parents and vice versa. So I think with bridging that with the Title I programs that the school district does have or have been trying to implement, I think is something that is a learning curve to try to get families involved, but as progression and how active each school is in getting or attempting to get the families involved, I think this will be a good first step.
Thank you. Ryan, same question. And if anyone needs me to repeat the question, just let me know.
Thank you, Scott. As Scott said, family involvement in any kind of child's education is important, but as a police detective, I've seen firsthand the difference that makes, especially among new Americans and ethnically diverse families. One of the main focuses that any school in the beginning stages of education needs to focus on is getting every student on the right path and on the right step to learning the English language, to getting familiar with the way that things are taught in the classroom in America, and also in the Moorhead School District. I'm very proud that we have the Spanish immersion program at Ellen Hopkins, which will allow students to communicate more fluently with their friends who are not native English language speakers, and also that will open them up to a wide range of ethnically diverse backgrounds and points of view. As Scott said, also the family involvement for every family is important, and I think that should be encouraged at every level.
Thank you. David, same question.
Hello, I'm David Marquardt. It's on. But is that working? There, that's better. A couple things. I think it's important to have a certified staff that would be appropriate to help the students that are coming into our schools, to educate them in the proper way. It's also very important to get them up to speed as quickly as possible so they can be included into the classroom, having the classroom teachers as well certified into dealing with students of different languages. A couple other things that's very helpful is to have different languages posted throughout your school so that when the parents do come into the schools, they can read a language that they're familiar with. Most times we see they're not comfortable coming into schools because it's usually not in their language or something like that. And so as much as teachers can do communication home with the with parents, and just have an awareness of their cultures and everybody else and the students in the classroom, makes them welcome and everything else in the classroom. So that's it.
Thank you. Karen.
Thank you. And so the question itself is the role that the school board can play in bridging the gap. Is that correct?
Yep. Actually, I'll repeat the question. It's, as our city continues to become more ethnically and racially diverse, what role do you see the school board playing in addressing the racial education achievement gap?
Okay, well, I am a North Moorhead resident, and I live in a very diverse neighborhood, so I do feel I have a good perspective on diversity. And I think that it'd be important for an awareness program for students that are in the school that have some of these diverse families becoming part of these schools. It'd be really great for the kids to have maybe some information on some of the countries of the children that are coming in so that they can feel more connected to their fellow students. Training for school administrators would be very important, not just the administrators that are working directly with these families, but all administrators so they can have that awareness. And also communication for the diverse families to give feedback, sort of a forum for them to give feedback to the schools on ways that they could feel more welcomed. Thank you.
Thank you. And Carla.
Kind of along with what Karen said, I think that the role of the school board is one that we need to support all of our people who are dealing with the diversity every day, and whatever that means to get them educated, whether it's, I think we kind of think it's a language barrier all the time. I know having children in high school, there's a cultural barrier that when you're going on a certain day to a certain event and kids can't be there at a certain time or they can't eat a certain food. I think all those things, like we talked about, educating, everybody in the whole school and having the school board support all that, the education that needs to go on, and to look at it positively. It's numbers, it's kids, it's a great thing for Moorhead, and to see it as a positive forward growth step instead of a problem that we have to overcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Bill, same question.
In the Moorhead district, we have at least 40 different languages that are spoken in the homes. We have an increased proportion of students who are coming to our district who have never heard English outside of in their home. Never. It's not spoken there at all. We're finding it's even difficult to find translators to help some of those kids because qualified translators are hard to find, and to know whether or not they're translating academic content correctly is very difficult. It's very hard to quality control that. There are no simple solutions to a problem that comes with an increasingly diverse community. I do know this. Our ELL program, English Language Learner, is strong. We do all that we can with the resources available, and we're doing incredible things. Many of those kids are going on to become very successful in our district. Parent involvement is important, but is very difficult. We've had a Native American program for years, and to get those parents involved has taken liaison people and all. It's growing, it's getting stronger, but it's a constant problem. We're on it, we're working at it. Adult basic education, again, reaches out to our community. We support those programs, and they are strong. We've been committed to this process for a long time. This is not new. We've made significant investments in early childhood education, and that really hits those families. And those efforts can only continue to increase as the district changes. They do require time, they do require resources, they do require good thinking, but we're working very hard currently and will continue to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mark, same question.
Great, thank you so much. I'm Mark Altenberg again. I think this is a great question, and I agree with Carla that much of what we're facing in Moorhead is a cultural issue. And if anybody wants to see what the future of Moorhead's going to look like, just stop by Ellen Hopkins, where my two kids go. You have kids, as Bill says, from almost every continent represented at Ellen Hopkins, and they get along great. I mean, I don't see separation among the children. I see a lot of parents who are trying to figure out a way to get engaged with this community. Representative Marquardt was just here talking about the achievement gap, but what I would ask our state leaders is, why does Minneapolis-St. Paul get $22,000 per child and we only get 6? When we have 40 languages spoken in our schools, I don't think that St. Paul understands the challenges that Moorhead has. And we need to speak as a school board, whoever gets elected, to our elected representatives who go to St. Paul to make sure that we get increased funding to help these kids. We need to increase our work with Lutheran Social Services and other nonprofits. I think M-State, where I work, over 20% of the population at M-State is New American. We have to get adult basic education over to M-State so we can start working with the families and then starting to work with the kids. And lastly, we as parents really need to start reaching out to these families and including them in our lives. So that they feel welcome in Moorhead, and we can begin to understand them as families, both culturally and just as people, making them feel more comfortable to come talk to us when they run into problems. And we do need additional staff to work with this, but under the current fiscal restraints, we need to really talk to our state partners and ask for those additional resources. Thank you.
Thank you. And for the next question, we will start with Ryan, and that question is, what will you do to improve student success in the schools at all levels? And specifically, what will you do to improve the high school graduation rate?
Student success in all levels is the main reason that I wanted to run for school board this year. As I said, my daughter started kindergarten this year at Ellen Hopkins, and I have 2 more who are going to be on the way to Ellen Hopkins as well. I have a firm belief in the value and benefits of public education, and that it is a very important resource for the city and the community to get behind. I think that we need to work on getting rid of that feeling from some areas that education is either not important or is to be looked down upon or to be made fun of in some cases. I think that needs to be pushed to the side and see what we can do in that sense, whether that's through extra counseling or through other programs that we can institute through the school district at any level. High school graduation rate can always be improved. I think our attendance is somewhere in the 90-something%, but the graduation rate is only in the mid-80s, and I don't understand the break off there of what's happening. I think it needs to be looked at as far as why students are leaving the schools before they graduate, and then how we can get them to come back in, whether through alternate programs or in the main high school itself.
Thank you. David, same question.
Could you repeat the first part again?
Yep. What will you do to improve student success in the schools at all levels? And specifically, what will you do to improve the high school graduation rate?
Okay, I think first of all, and it's critical in the primary grades that there's pretty low numbers in the classrooms. From experience, I've taught first, second, and third grade, and knowing when you have a class of 15 compared to 26 or 28, it makes a big difference. There are several challenges with many different kids in your classroom, and that's going to be critical in the early stages. If there's success when they're early on, there'll probably be success throughout the entire career, and hopefully keep them in school, and because they like to come and like to go there. So that should also help hopefully the dropout. I think it's also important that we get people involved into discussions and follow up with the students who do drop out and find out why they are dropping out and what can we do to help them serve them better. It's just a personal contact usually is what they are missing, and that's what we need to do to make sure that they stay in school and they're either college or career ready. Thank you.
Thank you. Karen, same question.
Thank you. And I believe that student success is so important within our schools. I think that testing preparations for standardized testing could help student success. Maybe doing some more pre-tests. And I just remember from my experience in high school, those standardized tests are just horrendous. So having that background and experience myself, I think that would be really helpful for students to have some more prep. Motivating students to strive for success by teaching them how to thrive in the real world, accountancy classes, more engaging home economics classes, things that can really get kids excited about being successful as adults. After school programs, sports and arts keep kids in school, because when they're a part of those programs, they have to be academically doing well in order to still participate in those programs. So I do think that would be helpful to really emphasize to students to get involved in their schools, and that will keep them wanting to come. Thank you.
Thank you. Carla, same question.
I guess to first speak to the student success part, in meeting with Dr. Kovash yesterday, we were looking at success rates and things like that, and it's kind of a well-known fact that kids that come to Moorhead, stay in Moorhead, do well in Moorhead, and so I think part of the challenge is having those kids stay, and that goes along with maybe the last question and making it comfortable for them and making it a place they want to be. And then the graduation rates, that's something I addressed actually even in the public forum, that I'd like to see some kind of postgraduate interview or something with our kids that are off doing various things, whether they're in college or in the military, joined the workforce, going to a tech school, whatever, or just being a citizen, and how well do we prepare them, and what we learn from that and from those recent graduates, could we do better, and we talked a lot yesterday about not just preparing everyone to go to college. That isn't a reality, but to really make good citizens and to make kids that are ready for life after high school. So I think those all kind of go together. Thanks.
Thank you. Bill, same question.
Moorhead has terrific schools. Moorhead produces terrific, outstanding students. That doesn't mean we don't have students who struggle academically, but academic high performance is the hallmark of the Moorhead schools. Currently, a lot of our students are being judged by a one-shot, high-stakes test given in the spring. We don't even get feedback on that until October. We cannot make adjustments based on that. But what is happening is those high-stakes, one-shot tests are driving a curriculum so that instead of having algebra for everybody, we are now having kids taking algebra all the time in order to pass a high-stakes test. And I think that's causing some problems. The tests are dominating our curriculum. As far as graduation rate, Minnesota's computation of the grad rate is very different than North Dakota's. And so our 80% rate reflects different things. We have a much more volatile population than the Fargo schools do in terms of moving in and moving out. We also find in Minnesota, if we lose track of a student because they go to a different state, they still count against us in graduation rate if we can't show they graduated in 4 years. And we get no credit for kids who graduate in 5 years or in 6 years who dropped out for whatever reason and came back and finished and were successful. And so those kinds of numbers are used to show people not looking good. I'm convinced much of it is being done precisely for political reasons to show that the public schools aren't working, instead of celebrating the fact that we have been successful, we've got great kids, and we're doing a lot of things. And if kids start here, stay with us, they will be successful.
Thank you. Mark, same question.
Thank you. This is Mark Alberg again. And this is an issue that is near and dear to my heart. I served 10 years on the Clay County Collaborative and really focused in on truancy and mental health issues and how we could use some federal funds to work with kids. But I think number one, just what Bill said, is we've got to start treating students as individuals. We can't be focused solely on standardized tests. I understand why the school district does it. I understand why the teachers do it. Education needs to be for every individual student. We also need more counselors in the schools. We see this statewide. We need more career counselors, as Carla talked about, that every child is not going to go on to a 4-year education. Some are going to go on to military or a 2-year or a certificate. We also need to work closely with the county and social services and make sure that the resources that are available through our county tax dollars are getting down to our kids in the school. We can't have a break between the tax dollars that flow from each individual up here to our students. The dropout rate, and Bill's got the numbers better than I do, it doesn't include folks that graduate with a GED. It doesn't include folks who simply move from Moorhead into West Fargo. We need to figure out a way to fix that. But those 10 years on the Clay County Collaborative, really, I want to focus in on, we're losing $6,000 a year on every dropped out student. We need to get those students back into the school district, whether that's through alternative education or traditional education. It's an economic issue. We need our graduates to help fuel the workforce here in Fargo-Moorhead. We have a 2.8% unemployment rate, but actually folks with skills, it's probably around 0%. Our employers need these kids to graduate and get skills. And finally, it's a moral issue. It's our job as a community and our job as a school board to make sure that every child graduates and has the opportunity for success.
Thank you. Scott.
And could you repeat the question?
Yes. What will you do to improve your student success in the schools at all levels? And specifically, what would you do to improve the high school graduation rate?
Okay. Just after going down the line, you get, there's so many different ideas and so many thoughts that that come to my mind. But I guess getting right down to what we can do to improve the student success. I think nowadays school is so, or the world today is, it's all about technology. I think that we need to, on a daily basis, or daily or annual basis, is just to review what type of technology our schools have and what we can do to improve that. Because everything now, I mean, with my 11-year-old and 8-year-old, everything is on the computer and everything is on a smartphone. It's incredible what things can be done. My 2-year-old knows how to take a picture on a smartphone. So getting to that point, technology is what drives our schools, and I think that's what we need to be proactive on. Now, a part of that to how to improve the graduation rate is, and as Mark said, to get the community needs those successful students. Well, I think one step to do that and to maybe get that graduation rate up is to have a more city community-wide involvement in having a work program or learning off campus, having some type of a situation where they aren't in the classroom all the time. They are out in the workforce to actually see what things are like and have that real life experience. So I think with all of those things, with technology and real life experiences, I think that's what's really going to improve our school system and up that graduation rate, is because once they see what they can do after their graduation out in the real world, this is something that they'll be excited about.
Thank you. And it looks like we have time for one more question, followed by the closing statements in the interest of time. And this question, we'll start with you, David. And the question we have from the audience is, the school board has refused to be broadcast on MCAM. How do you feel about that decision?
I personally would think it would be beneficial to have them televised on so the community can see them. I don't see a disadvantage. I think it's important for the community, if they can't make it, to see it is exposed as much as possible. I guess I think they should be televised and where public can see.
Thank you. Karen, same question.
One factor about not televising the meetings is that it does get the community to come out and gather. And our community is such a wonderful community here in Moorhead, so that is one factor. I'm sure that they have multiple reasons for not televising, but it would be something certainly that could be reviewed by the board and discussed, and if it's something the public really decides they want, then I certainly could see them reviewing whether it's possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Carla, same question.
Like Karen said, I guess I would want to know why it's been refused in the past. And when I pass the mic, Bill will probably tell us exactly why. And he'll make us look silly because he knows the answer. But there's probably a reason for it. I don't know the reason. I don't love the microphone and the cameras, and that's not why I'm running for school board, but I don't think that's a reason to not televise them. I would think there will be discussion regarding it if that's an issue that people see as something that needs to happen. And I guess I'll let Bill tell us.
Well, the community, defined broadly, has never really pushed for us to go live. We've been asked to consider it. I've heard from relatively few folks who ever raised that as an issue when I walk neighborhoods, as I meet in schools. So as far as it being a community issue, it hasn't been a big push either way. We have made the audio available on the school website. It's been on for a long time, and it's not accessed all that often. You have to understand that at the time this has come up, it's not free. We have to pick up equipment, we have to make modifications in things, and there's people time involved in all. We decided that in short dollars, you make decisions that preserve those dollars for the educational purposes. Our meetings are open, they're often very well attended, but people attend for the We Are Prouds and then they leave. There's not a tremendous amount of excitement that goes on in a school board meeting when we're going through things like the consent agenda or we're going through review of policy. Important material, yes, but not exactly moving television. The location can be a problem. Our board room is not set up right now to broadcast meetings. It could be. They've talked about other possible locations, but the current site would take some work to get it ready. And then the question is that I was concerned about is, will this make for better meetings? Will we be open with each other conversationally the way we are currently? And my experience by watching board meetings of other boards on MCAM is that some really strange behaviors come out when people know they're going to be on television and you can posture before a camera. And I'm worried that the meetings will become much more political-like and much more posturing than actually dealing with the business at hand. And so in light of those kinds of things, my decision has been, it really doesn't enhance what we're doing, and I see no driving reason to do it.
Thank you. Mark, same question.
Thank you, and I disagree with Bill. I think that the school board has a responsibility. If the county is going to be videotaped, if the city is going to be videotaped, I believe that the Delaware City Council at this point is even moving forward to be videotaped. The franchise fees that come from the cable companies, the two cable companies in town, should cover much of the expense of setting up new equipment. I understand that Probes Field is going through some modifications right now. I think working with MCAM would be brilliant. MCAM is currently located in the Moorhead High School. I think that the relationship is there, the offer's been made, and I know that serving on the city council, the meetings are at the exact same time. So oftentimes, city council members aren't able to attend the meeting, and we would like to have access to the video. And that's the most important thing. It isn't watching it live, it's having video minutes available. If you take a look at the city website, if I'm interested in a zoning issue and I'm not able to make the meeting, I can simply click on the minutes and go to the video and watch the discussion, because currently in the city minutes it's very brief in what it states. So I think there is a responsibility to have the video there. I think that's the way our current and modern culture is. I do understand the city council in the past has gotten a little dramatic, overly dramatic, but if you take a look at the Clay County meetings, I think that's the way a meeting should proceed. It's a little dry, but it does put onto video the responsibilities that they are carrying out. So my big issue, again, would be having those video minutes available online. And then the question of the meeting time. Do we want to have it at the exact same time as the city council? I think that that has gotten in the way of the city council meeting with the school board or having joint meetings. So I would definitely vote in favor of broadcasting the school board meetings.
Thank you. Scott, same question.
Well, as the board or panel has said, yes, there is a potential funding issue or how to fund this, but I guess at the same time with the technology and the time that people do have or do not have, I think this would be a beneficial piece for the Moorhead school system to actually have this readily available for anyone that does want to have access to it at the click of a mouse. And I guess personally wise, being on a camera, I think is well, right now a little nerve-wracking in a sense, since I'm never usually like this, but I think it will keep the board on their feet and to actually keep everything on an even keel, I would hope. But dramatic-wise, we'll see. But who knows? Maybe that will make for some interesting school board meetings as well.
Thank you. Ryan.
I'll be as brief as I can on this. I see no compelling reason not to televise through MCAM the school board meetings. The audio is already available on the websites, as well as the agendas are published on the website. I believe that the video could be published on the website as well as transmitted live without any too extreme expense or logistical problems.
Thank you. And actually, we're going to do one more question. And so, Karen, we're going to start with you. Just in general, what is the top priority for your term on the school board?
Okay, my top priority for running for school board, I would say, is to make sure that the arts and sports and involvement of students in those programs continues. With our growing community, I do think it's very important to make sure that the kids in schools have that involvement. And I remember from my experience within my high school that was what really made me feel connected to my fellow students, my teammates. I played hockey. I was a vice president of my art club in high school, and I was also involved in the French club. So those clubs are really important, I feel, for students. And I'd really like to emphasize that we need to keep those programs going. And that will help with the community and the enrollment issues that we have. We really want to keep those kids having a good time at school. Thank you.
Thank you. Carla.
Well, I think that the biggest thing that we're all on the same page about is the growth of our city and the need for the physical space for our students. It's inevitable. It's got to happen. We went through the numbers yesterday. If you look, we're bursting at the seams in our elementary schools. We're almost at capacity at our high school and our middle school. So knowing full well this is going to be a time of change and a time of some tough decisions. Do we build new? Do we recycle old? Do we move here? Do we change? So not only do we have to make those decisions, but I feel it's really important the communication when those decisions are made. Not everybody's going to be happy. Not everybody's going to get exactly what they want. And so I think just if people are well aware that how we came to the conclusions we came to, and that you're really doing the best for the whole school district and the community, and it's not to serve one or two specific groups of people. So I would hope we're going to grow. Let's hope we grow well. We grow nicely together, and in the end, we have a great product that enhances our children's education, because that's why we're here.
Thank you. Bill.
I would like to see the community involvement process that we now have looking at facilities. I'd like to see that through to a successful conclusion that addresses the needs of our students. Secondly, I would love to see our community realize what a gem they have in the Moorhead schools. Top-notch kids taught by top-notch teachers, administrators. We have a terrific system, and I want to see that the public recognizes it and that we move ahead through this planning process.
Thank you. Mark.
Fantastic. Thank you. This is Mark Aldenberg again. My number one priority in reading through the Informed Voters Guide, my number one priority right now is physical growth of the facilities. I talked to the principal over at Ellen Hopkins. When you hear a principal say we're full, when we have 20 spots left in the entire school, when my children's elementary school is at 850 students and has no more room, and talking to the superintendent yesterday, even with the growth that we're doing right now, if we continue to have enrollments over 500, we're going to be at over 6,000 students, or are at over 6,000 students right now. Horizon Middle School has capacity for 1,300 students. You have a cohort of 1,500 students in K through 2, which means my son John will enter into Horizon, and by the time he leaves, there'll be 1,500 students in Horizon. By the time he's a senior in high school, there'll be 2,000 students. We haven't seen those numbers since the late 1970s, early 1980s. It's a safety issue. We can't have that many students in the schools without starting to have students drift away or not have that individualized attention that they need. We've talked about student success. We need to engage our students, and once we get overcrowded, I think we'll lose track of our students. So my number one priority right now, as Bill said, is working through this process and then figuring out where we're going to build the new elementary school. I think we really do need that 4th elementary school. I'd like to see it on the east side. That's my preference, out in the Horizon Shores area. But I would be open and willing for any ideas that the committee comes forward with.
Thank you. Scott.
Well, I think we're all in agreement that it is growth. That is the most important, growth and safety. I think are the two most important or key factors that we need to focus on within our school district. I, as well, like I said, my 2 kids, or my 1 son actually, is in Ellen Hopkins, and being a part of the PTAC committee at Ellen Hopkins, we just went through in our September meeting, and like Mark said, there's only 20 spots left in our school. That's just staggering, and with the help of the Minnesota approval of all-day kindergarten, growth is even a bigger factor. So that is the number one focus that I think that we have to work on, and I hope that I can be a part of that in making those types of decisions. And then also keying in on the safety. We do need to make sure that all kids are accounted for in this sea of children that we will have in the next 5-10 years. And just with with communities on the other side of the river, they're going to be at a point where they're going to be at a max capacity, where those families will be moving over to the Moorhead side, and with some of the businesses that are growing and are building right now in Fargo, West Fargo, we are going to see an influx of more and more families coming over to our side of the river. With that, we have to be proactive. We have to make sure that those schools are built and ready for that flush of people coming over. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ryan.
Thank you. My top priority, as I said, is the educational opportunities available to all students at all grade levels and at all abilities. I think that is best done through smaller elementary schools, neighborhood-centric, perhaps the addition of 1 or 2 elementaries, feeding into a few more middle schools, and then finally 1 large high school that offers the diversity of opportunities that like Moorhead High School does. I've seen what happens in Fargo when they split high schools, when you have to double up or triple up on resources. I don't think that that's anything that Moorhead needs. I think we have the capacity right now, and we can build on to Moorhead High School to have that extra capacity for the future. Again, I think that all students need to be challenged on their individual level by their teachers, by their peers, and by their families as well.
Thank you. And David.
I think my top priority would be to have a plan for the future, a long-term plan that isn't just short-term, let's build quick and get the kids in there, let's have a plan for the future. I think it's important to involve the community, involve the staff, involve the school board, everybody's involved to get this plan figured out. And with this plan, we can have a budget, we can use our budget to plan accordingly. And so if it's a priority in our plan, long-term plan, it's a great way to use our money. If it's not a top priority, that's not what we use our money for. So my initial is to get us some sort of long-term plan, and so we know what's going on, the community knows what's going on, and get the involvement and have know where we're going in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now take time for each candidate to give a 1-minute closing statement. And Carla, we'll start with you.
Thank you. I guess first I'd just like to thank the League of Women Voters for having this, and also for the people who showed up, took time out of their day. We've all got a lot going on, and it was hard to squeeze in. I didn't think I could make it, and we made it happen. So, and also just thank you to each and every one of you that stepped up to run for the board, because I do think quality candidates make for a better race. And like Bill said, good intentions don't get the votes, so go out and vote on November 4th. Thanks.
I'd like to thank the League for sponsoring this candidate forum. I really hope that the school board race does not get lost on a ballot that has races for state offices, U.S. Senator, state representative, county board members, and at least 1 judge. That was one of the concerns I had when we went to even year elections. School board member elections matter. We encourage you to vote. My mother has asked if I enjoyed being on the school board. My honest answer is yes. because I believe that membership on a school board has allowed me to use my professional preparation and my personal commitment to education in a very powerful way. It is in that sense that I chose a slogan for my literature some time ago, prepared to serve. I see the school board as an opportunity for me to bring to bear my professional background with a commitment to community service that has been here for almost 30 years. I believe I have served the school board district honorably during my first 3 terms, and I would ask you to allow me the privilege to continue in this important role. And remember, every vote counts.
Thank you. And Mark.
Thank you so much. Mark Altenberg, running for school board here in Moorhead. Again, thank you to the League of Women Voters of the Red River Valley. You do an invaluable service to our community. And thank you to the Moorhead Public Library. I like this setup. I like this setup better than any of the setups I've seen in the past. When I got on the city council in 2010, everyone was talking about the gray wave and how Moorhead was going to shrink and it was going to get older, and we needed to really start concentrating on working with our seniors, and I believe that's critically important. What we didn't see coming was the growth that we're in right now. We honestly did not see it coming. We had 14% growth in the metro in the last 3 years. That's amazing. Discussions about West Fargo and Fargo's capacity to grow. Over 50% of the population of Fargo lives in rental housing. One of the first places they look is in Fargo. Then they go to West Fargo, and then they come over to Moorhead. And a lot of families, when they get over to Moorhead and they see what we have to offer in the neighborhoods in the school district, they choose Moorhead. We're going to grow. We're going to grow significantly over the next decade. I'm convinced of that. And we need to grow smart, absolutely. I believe that a new elementary school is a high priority, but also that long-range planning. What does the future hold when it comes to online teaching, when it comes to vocational teaching, when it comes to internships and getting kids into the workforce? I'm going to do everything I can if I'm elected to make sure that Moorhead continues to have the highest quality schools in the metro. I believe that it does right now. I believe that you have great people on the school board, and I'd like to join them. I ask for your vote this fall.
Thank you. And Scott.
Thank you. Thank you again to the League of Women Voters and the Moorhead Public Library for hosting the event. I guess, looking back at the everyone's comments, we are on the same page here. Growth is very important. Adding to that, technology, I think, is something that we also need to consider greatly to keep our students on the up and up with today's society, and also with that graduation rate, and that with that influx of students that is coming in, that's going to be a very important piece to make sure that we do have that high graduation rate, to make sure that each child is accounted for, to make sure that they are not lost. So I think with community and city involvement, businesses in the community can really take a hand in helping out with our education system in the Moorhead Public Schools. With that, as Mark said, with the city growing in a positive way, what better way than to get our city leaders, our communities, our businesses in Moorhead to help out with Moorhead Public Schools. With that, I hope to see everyone out on November 4th to vote, and I'd appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Thanks. And Ryan.
Thank you to the League of Women Voters, the Moorhead Public Library, and everyone who came out to participate in this event. My name again is Ryan Jensen. I'm a candidate for school board. My belief is that school boards are, the role of a school board is to represent the residents and the taxpayers of the city in providing the quality of education that their children require and deserve. As a school board member, I would work tirelessly to ensure that the funds what little funds we do receive through public money, through state grants and other sources, is put to the most efficient use in creating a quality educational atmosphere for all of our students, not just the high flyers, not just the ones who need extra help, but for every student at every level. Thank you.
Thank you. David.
I also like to thank all of you for coming out today and to listen, and all the people who are listening on TV. I just want to give Moorhead an opportunity to elect somebody who's in the trenches of the education profession every day throughout their career. I think it's important that we keep working hard. I know the standards. I know how everything works in the classrooms. I'm here to fight for the staff of Moorhead, because I know the staff that is important for a good education. If they're happy, the kids are happy, and everybody else is happy. I'm going to work hard to fight and to involve the community as well, because they are our schools. And so I just appreciate your vote on the 4th of November, and I look forward to the challenge of being on the school board. Thank you.
Thanks. And Karen.
Thank you. Karen Stensgaard, also running for school board. I also wanted to thank the League of Women Voters and the Moorhead Public Library for hosting. Also my fellow candidates. Every single person up here took the time out of their day, and I really appreciate everybody stepping up and coming out. I chose this community. I could have moved anywhere in the metro area, and I chose Moorhead. I'm from Fargo, and I chose to live here because I see this community as a supportive, progressive, innovative, and wonderful community. And I hope to be able to help serve on the board. Thank you.
Thank you. And I would like to thank all the candidates for the Moorhead School Board for being here today. And also, this forum will be available on the League of Women Voters website. The House 4B candidate forum is coming up, followed by statements made by the District 9 candidates for judge. And then for more information on the League of Women Voters or to become a member, please visit our website or Facebook page. Thank you, and thank you, everyone.